High school hockey fans in Wisconsin, it is time for another edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. Mike Hammett here, along with William Berg, Bill Berg, and Delmar Scanlon, our panel of know-it-alls here to take you through the show tonight. And let's go ahead and get things started. Let's talk about the games of the week that we had. Del, you were getting a little traveling time in. Janesville was at Waunakee, and Rock County was playing Badger Lightning, kind of up in your neck of the woods. So you went to see those games. What'd you see?
Well, on Saturday, I made the trip to Waunakee, where I saw Janesville travel up there to play. And first period, game started out, and it was the fundamentals came into play as the Bluebirds used the outlet pass to perfection to score the first goal of the game and lead 1-0. It was from sitting in the stands. Player from the Bluebirds took the puck along the far boards, made the pass to the guy in the middle, who passed it over to the near boards, which was Jake Schaffner, who skated in and scored the first goal of the game. And then a little bit later, it was Waunakee answering, where McCarthy Reed took the puck behind the net, passed it into the low slot, who found his teammate on the back door and just put the puck right in to tie the game at 1 at the end of 2 periods. The second period, though, that belonged to Waunakee. It was all hustle. Any loose puck that was out there, they were beating the Bluebirds to it and did it to score 6 goals in the second period, to be up 7-1 at the end of 2. And then the third period, of course, we were at runtime. Nobody scored, and Waunakee went on to win the game 7-1. I've gotten to see Waunakee play quite a few times over the past few years because of being in the Badger Conference and having played against RWD, being in that conference when my kids played hockey and everything else. And I go, Waunakee has continued to impress every year, and this year it is no exception. Got to talk to Coach Olson after the game was over, and he brought up the point that every year they've had some scorers, but he really feels this year he's got the complete team, and everybody's working there as teamwork, and everybody's feeding off of each other. And you guys all know how that teamwork works, and when you just have a few scorers or something, it makes a difference when it's all gelling as a team.
Del, I can tell you that I know a couple times when Waunakee would get into the sectional final, the question was going to be goaltending for him, and that's what it turned out to be. So Coach Olson, if he's feeling he's got pretty good netminder, then they're probably going to go far in the playoffs.
It's going to be looking good. They lost their second game of the season to Fond du Lac. That was a 6-5 loss. But since then, they're currently riding an 11-game win streak. And with that, we can talk about this girls' game of the week, which happened to be 20 miles away from me over in Baraboo. And it was Rock County Fury made the trip up to take on the Badger Lightning. And the Lightning took a penalty early in the first period, but it proved not to have an effect on the game. But Rock County did score late in the first period to take a 1-0 lead at the end of the first period. There was no scoring in the second. Rock County ends up scoring 2 goals to go up 3-0 in the third, and Badger Lightning scored with a little under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Rock County pulls out a 3-1 victory. Impressive thing here is Olivia Cronin's in the net. She did pick up a penalty for tripping. We all know how a goaltender picks up her penalty, his or her penalty, and so it was somebody else on the bench serving it. She stopped 23 of 24 shots on goal that night. And Alyssa Gata for the Badger Lightning, she stopped 27 of 30. So both goalies had a decent game in net. And, it just was that the Rock County was able to use their offense to end up winning this game.
Rock County's had some players that could put the puck away in the last couple of years, but with graduation, I mean, we know how high school seasons go, and they just haven't been able to refill that void with all the scoring that they had that left due to graduation. So work to be done there. And, with a senior goalie, they're going to have work to be done next year to replace Olivia Cronin, who's a pretty good goaltender. In fact, Olivia Cronin's a very good athlete.
Well, we talked a little bit before we started tonight, and we talked a little bit about Emma Klagora, and I got to see her play against the Metro Lynx. And she's another one of those players that hustle on the ice all the time. She was able to score their goal against the Lynx, and she picked up 2 assists on this evening. So, I mean, she's one of those hustle players that you see on the ice.
She's a scrappy little thing. And she's played, this is her first year of high school, throughout the COVID season. She's played with the boys all the way up. So, she's played a little bit different level, and she's brought that little bit different of a level to the Fury this year, and looking like one of their best players, if not their leading scorer. So, good for Emma. She's only a sophomore, and she's got a sister coming in next year named Ava. And 3-1 win, huh?
3-1 win for the Rock County Fury on Friday evening.
Okay, thanks, Del, for that synopsis on both the boys and girls games. Burglar's going to tell us about our players of the week, the Radisson Madison players of the week.
Before I do that, Bill and I went to cover a game. Superior was coming down to Stevens Point to play the Spash Panthers, and Bill and I made the trip down to Stevens Point, and the rink was dark.
Why?
Apparently the game got postponed at the last minute because of COVID protocols. So we didn't get to see the game because they didn't play it.
Yeah, Spash was postponed on Friday and their game against Lakeland on Saturday.
These things happen.
Any makeup dates?
I haven't looked. I just checked the schedule before we went down there, and the game was still on. And yeah, we got to a dark rink. It was exciting.
Okay, well, they're not conference games, so I guess they don't really have to make them up.
Well, we thought it was kind of silly anyway. A 7:00 game on a Friday night. It's a 5-hour drive from Superior down to Stevens Point. We checked Superior's schedule to see if maybe they were playing somebody else down here on Saturday, and they were not. So they were going to, spend 10 hours on a bus to play a hockey game. So I don't know if they'd be in a hurry to reschedule that anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, we're talking about players of the week, and
we are the Radisson Madison players of the week. A couple of goalies this time from Onalaska. Diana Hansen, goaltender. On Tuesday, she had 20 saves, allowed 1 goal, and a 4-1 win over Lakeshore. On Friday, 26 saves, allowed 2 goals, and a 4-2 win over USM. And on Saturday, only had to stop 7 pucks to get the shutout and a 7-0 win over the Badger Lightning. So do the math on that, and it was a lot of saves and only 3 goals allowed for Diana Hansen of Onalaska. Goalie on the boys side only had 1 game this week, but his numbers for the season so far back it up. On Tuesday, he had 53 saves in a 2-0 overtime loss to Fond du Lac. Tyler Fromholtz of Waupun. He has faced 50 or more shots in 6 of his 10 games this season and is still boasting a .930 save percentage. Sees a lot of pucks, stops most of them. Tyler Fromholtz, we remember him from last year. He was a good goaltender last year. He hasn't dropped off at all this year for Waupun. Those are our Radisson Madison players of the week.
As I was saying off the air, Waupun has had back-to-back talented goaltenders when they had Caleb Sauer come through before Tyler Fromholtz. So, Waupun's had some good goalies and just not enough offense to go with it at this point. Well, enough out of me. Let's talk about those top sixes, D1, D2, and the girls. And Bill Jr., you tabulate every single week. And with Hudson losing to Eau Claire North in overtime, what happens? Does anything really shake out different?
Well, it's a big boost for Eau Claire North. And before I get started, there are no unanimous number ones this week. I believe that's the first time that we've had 0 unanimous number ones. Hudson is number 1 overall still in D1. That loss did not remove them from the top spot. But Eau Claire Memorial is now nipping at their heels. They're still in the 2nd spot. Notre Dame Academy moved up 1 to the 3rd spot. Eau Claire North was not ranked last week. They jump all the way up to the 4th spot. Nina Hortonville Menasha drops 2 spots to 5th, and Madison Edgewood drops 1 spot to 6th. That means that Waunakee dropped out of the top 6 this week. They'll be playing Madison Edgewood later this week, so they're going to get their shot. D2, St. Mary Springs is still number 1. Rice Lake also picked up a 1st place vote. They are 2nd. Amory moved up a spot to 3rd. New Richmond is still 4th. Mosinee was unranked last week. They move into the 5th spot, and Oregon drops 4 spots all the way from 2nd down to 6th. And then in the girls spot, the only movement this week was that Bay Area and Fox Cities switched. Last week, Fox Cities was number 1, Bay Area was number 2. This week, Bay Area is number 1 and Fox Cities is number 2. Central Wisconsin is 3rd. St. Croix Valley is 4th. Madison Metro Lynx is 5th. And Western Wisconsin Stars are 6th. Those 3 through 6 are the same as they were last week. And I don't think either Bay Area or Fox Cities did anything to earn a promotion or demotion. It's just not every coach votes every week, and a different selection of coaches has Bay Area 1 and Fox Cities 2, and some coaches have Fox Cities 1 and Bay Area 2, and it's just, which ones voted that week. Those 2 teams, I mean, they've played the last game they played 2 overtimes, still tied, went to a shutout or shootout. You can't really, I mean, you got to pick one, but you can't go wrong with either one.
So Hudson doesn't fall out of the number 1 spot. I
I wouldn't have expected them to.
No, I wouldn't have either. An overtime loss on the road. I mean, I think it's still, on the road and you lose an overtime at a, good arena, Hobbs, and a North team that's always, it's been pretty loaded the last couple of years. So
yeah, North has been, they've received votes just about every week. They haven't cracked the top 6, but they've been getting votes. And I mean, Hudson has still got wins over Edgewood, Verona, Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire Memorial, Notre Dame Academy. I mean, they've beaten most of the rest of the list already, so it's hard to knock them out of that spot.
Hudson's also got another date with Eau Claire Memorial coming up, and I believe another one with Eau Claire North.
This week they have Chippewa Falls and Superior. Next week they have Eau Claire Memorial. The week after that they have Wausau West and New Richmond. So they've got a good tough schedule coming up, and they'll get to take on Eau Claire North again February 8th. But now that that happened, I got to look it up, and Hudson already had a loss. They lost to Gentry Academy in Minnesota, but the last undefeated team to run the wire undefeated was Eau Claire Memorial in 2008. They ended up going 27-0 that season.
Now,
Something to
William,
that thing.
did you say that when in that game with Hudson and Eau Claire North, that when they went into overtime, Eau Claire North actually had a 5-on-3 power play going on?
That's what I saw from Bob Bradovich, the play-by-play guy over there in Eau Claire. That's what he said on his Twitter feed. I didn't get to watch the game, but yeah, he said that the overtime opened with Hudson having 2 guys in the box. Apparently, they did manage to kill that off, but North managed to score with 1:48 left in that first overtime period.
It's going to make for an interesting sectional there.
Well, that's just a brutal sectional to begin with.
I would agree with that. As we talked about Madison Edgewood and Wanakee are going to play this week. So Edgewood's going to be putting that ranking on the line as well.
Well, that might even be our game of the week.
Oh, well, look at that. That's up next in the notes. Upcoming games of the week. Thursday, Wisconsin Valley Union's going to take on Northland Pines in girls action. And
This is more a grudge match than anything. Those 2 teams don't like each other. And but that may have just been Trasher. You know, Pines didn't like Trasher and Trasher didn't like Pines, and that rubbed off on everybody else, or I don't know, but there was always a very big grudge match when Trasher was still around and his daughter was still playing.
yeah, yep, the famous bubbles in net. Saturday, Edgewood versus Wanakee. I know when Verona went up there and played Wanakee, it was a pretty good crowd there, and I probably going to expect more of that, especially when your team's on an 11-game winning streak against a rival.
And that's
Well,
part
you know,
of a pretty cool event. They're calling it the Badger Challenge. The Badger East and Badger West, they're taking their standings as they are in the season and fighting it out. So Wanakee is on the top of the Badger East. Edgewood is on the top of the Badger West. They're going to be playing each other. The second place teams in the 2 will be playing each other. One team gets left out because the Badger East does have 7 teams versus the 6 in the Badger West. But I think that's a pretty cool in-season event.
Yeah.
We've talked about stuff like that on the podcast before. We're like, if 2 of the 8 team conferences opened their season with kind of like I always likened it to the old NCAA basketball, the Big Ten versus ACC challenge. Like, I don't know if they still do that, but I always kind of likened it to that, where you take like the number 1 teams from the year before and they open their season against each other, and then the number 2s, and it's kind of a big thing. I kind of like that they're doing that in the Badger Conference this year, East and West.
Yeah, what did McFarland do to get left out of that? Because they're in the middle of the standings. Is that why they're?
I don't know how they decided.
Somebody had to.
The thing is we usually don't do teams, especially back-to-back weeks of being the game of the week. And yes, Wanakee is this week, but it is partially because it's the Badger Challenge going on. But the second thing is it's 2 conference first place teams taking each other on for that. And while that game's being played at 7:30 Saturday evening, I do plan on being there starting at 2:30 and catching 2 of the other games that are going on at the Wanakee rink. And then they have 3 of those Badger Challenge games are being played at the Oregon rink that day at the same time.
And I'll have to talk to my mother to see if she wants the kids, but Eau Claire Memorial and Notre Dame are playing on Friday here at Marathon Park, and Onalaska and Wausau West are playing on Friday here at Marathon Park. So we might.
And then on Saturday, the 2 of that the 2 winners play each other on Saturday, and the 2 losers play each other. So it is a small 4-team tournament that, I think we're going to have to get up to this. This may end up being the weekend that she takes your kids this month.
Well, that will be good because Monday. Oh yeah, I'll be on the podcast next Monday, but I'm not talking because my wisdom teeth are coming out.
Hey,
all of them. So that's
All 4?
That's on my schedule one's already gone. That's on my schedule for next Monday.
Oh, one's already gone, so you know what to expect.
Yeah. This time they're gonna knock me out though.
Well, guys, that's beginning of our things that we normally cover. We got a thoughts section, open forum. One of the things brought up here in our open forum discussion is coaching your kids. And Junior, I think that's something you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, it caught me completely off guard. You know, I've heard Burglar tell the story about being Coach Grandpa on our favorite official, Nikki Clays's, when she was playing high school hockey, one of her summer teams. He became Coach Grandpa because girls are mean. But it completely caught me off guard that, you know, I'm helping coach mini mites here in DC Everest Youth Hockey. And, you know, they're going through their stations. You know, we have 6 stations on the ice for Learn to Skate. And, you know, they get to my station and my daughter, who's on the ice, calls me daddy. And then all of a sudden another kid calls me daddy and another kid calls me daddy. I'm like, well, that's just not right. You have to stop that. So now I have to have a conversation with my 5-year-old daughter. When we're at hockey, you can't call me daddy. You have to call me coach, because I don't want a bunch of 5-year-olds calling me daddy. That's weird.
She won't do that.
Why is
she
that?
won't. She won't. She you can't tell her what to do.
You can't. She's in charge.
She runs the show.
I gotta say, it is very. I don't know that I like it more, but you know, it's quite. I like coaching the Learn to Skate. Like Burglar and I did Pee-wees back when I was in high school, and like they talk back and have opinions on stuff. I don't know. Learn to Skate's much easier. Like those kids are like smiling and having fun.
And
It's
if they
really
get
fun.
bored, they drop on the ice and do snow angels. And
Yeah, they sit down and mess around, but like you can find kids like I've gotten pretty good at picking out the kids on the ice that I can trick into doing a drill that they don't want to do just by
Mhm.
making a game out of it. You know, like this last weekend, I was on the station where they turn their sticks over and they have to put a ring on the end of their stick and stick handle it on the ice. So like a rubber ring, you know, it's really hard for them to lose it. But like kids don't move around; they're just like so focused on, you know, not losing it that they're not moving around and stuff until coach skates by and says, "I'm going to take that ring," and then they start taking off in every direction because they don't want you to take their ring. So you just chase them around the ice, tapping your stick like you're going to take it. And all of a sudden, a kid who is just standing there, you know, moving his stick back and forth is skating around doing the same thing, you know. And if he's holding his stick tilt, you'll, okay, I'm going to go to his left. Now he has to go right. Okay, now I'm going to go to his right. Now he has to go left. Yeah, Learn to Skate, I think is really fun. I think everybody should coach Learn to Skate if they're going to coach at some point.
then the kid, after you take it away, turns around, gives you a 2-handed slash right across the calves.
Well, I don't ever actually take it. That's the thing. I never actually take it. I just tell them I'm going to, and it becomes a game, and then they really enjoy it.
That's funny. We got a guy down here in Janesville who does Learn to Skate, learn to play hockey every year. Guy was there for Mason when he started, and he still does it every Sunday morning. That guy goes down there and he has more fun with the kids, and he actually does barrel rolls on the ice with the kids, teaching kids how to, you know, get up from falling down from skating. And you know, I'll tell you, guys, his name is Matt Bloomquist, and he's been coaching for years, and he just loves coaching little kids, and the little kids have a lot of fun with him. And you know, Mason, when he hit his last year of Bantams, Matt was his coach, so kind of it came full circle that you know, first coach and last coach in youth hockey. And you know, they were very familiar with each other by then, I guess, to make a long story short.
I think I think Jim Seekert in Anago coached, I don't know what they called it at the time. Mini mites.
The Might B team, the second, that was back when everybody still did the traveling mites, but yeah, he was a coach of that team forever.
Rink Rats.
Yeah.
He, you know, yeah, and I think that's good. I think that's good for associations to get away from parent coaches as the head coach at each level. Like if you can have a steady coach who's kind of there every year, I think that's better than having parents out there, because I don't want a bunch of kids calling me daddy. And I'm sure most other coaches don't either.
Well, yeah, and I've seen it where you have, you know, a parent or a couple of parents, you know, who team up and like they're coaching their kids all the way through. So those kids only, you know, they only have that one coach for hockey all the way through youth hockey. You know, it's like, well, he was our squirt coach, he was our PB coach, he's our Bantam coach. You know, so you're basically, you end up doing the same things every year, the same drills, the same philosophy, the same everything. It gets old.
It's really hard, especially at the higher levels. You know, mites, it's one thing, but peewees, bantams, it's hard to coach your own kid, because there's 3 ways to coach your own kid. You know, brother, I'm talking about, you can either be harder on your kid than everybody else, harder on everybody else than your kid, or you treat everybody the same. And there are very, very few parent coaches who do that third option, where they treat everybody the same, whether they're conscious about it or not. Either they're harder on their kid or they're softer on their kid. It's just a nature of being a parent. So, you know, like I wasn't planning on coaching Learn to Skate this year. I helped out last year. I wanted Lorelai to get on the ice without me, and just do it. But then they asked, you know, if any of the parents could help out again this year. And so since they asked, I said yes. But I have no plan of coaching her, you know, all the way through. I don't want to do that. I want her to do it without me. Plus, you know, we get done with hockey practice and I ask her if she had fun, and she says yes. And then I say I had fun too, and she says parents aren't supposed to have fun. So
That's funny. Oh man. What else we got here that we want to?
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about the website again, how we had the website remodeled to make it more mobile friendly, since about 3/4 of our viewership comes from mobile devices now. One unexpected thing that happened from this is we lost most of our advertising, and along with that we lost our advertising revenue. So we're going to have to ask for, we'll put a thing that we're going to have to ask for donations again if we're going to be able to go out and cover the state tournament, because usually that's what our advertising revenue pays for. You know, we have to do all our setup and hotels and everything for the state tournament, and I don't know that the advertising revenue is going to cover it this year. So you know, if your booster club or your association or something likes our hockey coverage and wants to help us provide the covers that we normally do for the state tournament, we'll get a advertising or a donation button up there. We'll have to do something different with that character award thing. We'll get the donation button back up there, but yeah, we're going to need a little extra boost if we're going to be able to cover the state tournament this year, because that's kind of expensive to get all of us in there, and hotels and whatnot. So anything you can do, we would appreciate.
Looking here, they have a bracket here on the Waha Twitter feed. Jesus, why didn't you guys tell me I was sitting down so low? Fidgeting. Second round of finding the coldest rink in Wisconsin. Voting is up on Facebook and Instagram stories. Waha has a bracket going of the coldest rinks in Wisconsin. I'm going to see if I can pull that up here. And
I vote for Eagle River.
why is that?
Because it's cold.
Because the roof is made out of wood and it's not insulated.
Actually, the other one in Eagle River is colder. The
The
roof is
icebox.
made out of the roof is made out of metal, and it's also not insulated, and it is colder than the dome. Hayward was always cold. Medford is always cold.
I was gonna say Mosinee was always cold, but back when I used to play there, it still didn't have walls.
Yeah,
It has walls now.
Well, the bracket has popped up here. The problem is I can't get it. I can't get it up here on this. Polls to vote are on Facebook and Instagram stories. That's where it's at. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Top bracket, Dodgeville gets an immediate next round. Beloit and Altoona battle it out. Reedsburg, Cumberland battle it out. Price, Ice, and Viroqua. Where's the cube, guys?
that's the second rink at Northland or in Eagle River.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Baraboo and Mosinee. Now I've been to Baraboo's rink. That's cold. Dell, you've been there many times. I'm sure you can vouch for that also.
It's cold, at least this year when I was there, they didn't have the openings on the walls. You used to have little gaps there. Didn't notice them as bad this year. But I can remember going to RACA up here, Reedsburg Area Community Arena, and you couldn't see through the glass to watch the kids play hardly because of the being covered in ice.
Mhm. Medford and Sparta. I've never been to Medford's rink.
It's cold.
Is it cold?
Yep.
Never been to Sparta's either. And then Appleton and Hayward. Haven't been to either one of those, so I'm guessing missing out. But this is on the Waha Facebook and Instagram. There's a story about it if you want to take part in it and see how the bracket breaks down, see who is the champion of the coldest rink. And I can tell you right now, down here in Janesville, I would bet you Beloit's ice is awfully good tonight because it is climate controlled by being outside, and it is cold down here.
Well, before West Salem got their new rink, they had the meat locker there. And their old rink was cold. That had to be about the coldest rink I'd been to. And I'd been to Dodgeville's. And so now Mawson always had the coldest, but then of course they had no walls or roof. It was an open rink outside.
I like a good cold rink for like one game, but not for like a tournament.
No. Well, we had that one time when we went to a tournament in Toma when they had the old rink there on the fairgrounds. And that wind would come through the cracks there in the walls. And it was cold, very cold. But
Coached there too.
what's that?
Coached a few games at that rink too.
Toma?
Yep.
So anyways, if you want to take part in that sounds kind of fun. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that all turns out. So guys, you got anything else you want to get off your mind?
Nope.
Nope. Me either.
Good to have you back, MJ.
Well, kind of good to be back. It's been a been a very difficult time here at my house. The wife being very sick, and it's not easy. And sometimes it takes me away from this, doing this and covering games and things that I love, but I have to take care of things at home. So it's good to be back, maybe a little bit more of normalcy in my life. So I appreciate the comment very, very much, because just trying to get back to a normal life after what we've been through here. So that being said, guys, we done this time?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Give
All
Lori
right.
our best.
What's that?
Give Lori our best.
Give Lori our best. Okay, she's out there. I will let her know. So for Bill, William, Delmar, and myself, thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next week here on This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.